Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest players of all time, despite what some people might say. Like this, or this. Some people argue about which season was his best, but to me there's no debate. His best season was the 2005 to 2006 season by far. Although he didn't win MVP, he definitely played the best he ever had on an individual level. How about individual though? While also willing out terrible Lakers team to the playoffs. So let's go into how good this season was. To do this, we first need to go back. Kobe won 3 straight championships with Shaq. But after 2 years of losing, the beef was at too high of a level for it to be sustainable. This ended up with Shaq ultimately getting traded at the end of the 2003 to 04 season. And Kobe finally had his way, no longer being a sidekick. He was the main show. However, Phil Jackson, one of the best coaches ever, quit. He also made a book called The Last Season, where he called out Kobe. All of this made Kobe a very unpopular guy, as people believed he forced Shaq out of LA. And it didn't help that the first season he had as a number 1 guy didn't go well. He and the Lakers proceeded to miss the playoffs in the 04 to 05 season, with the Lakers going 34-48. People were starting to think Kobe can't carry, but he would prove them all wrong in the 2005 to 2006 season. He would have his best season ever from an individual perspective, averaging 35.4 points per game, 4.5 assists per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, 1.8 steals per game, and 0.4 blocks per game on 45, 34.7 and 85 splits, leading the Lakers to 45 wins, which was the 7th seed. This may not seem all too impressive until you realise the league average for points back then for the entire team was under 100. And the Lakers' second leading scorer, Omar Odom, scored 14.8 points per game. The Lakers averaged 99.4 points per game, so Kobe scored 35.6% of his team's points on average. By comparison, James Harden scored 31.7% of his team's points on average in the 2018 to 2019 season, and Michael Jordan scored 35.4% of his team's points on average in the 1986 to 1987 season. He also did this with practically no spacing and zone defense being allowed. This is quite impressive. He also had multiple standout performances, such as when he outscored the Mavericks, an NBA Finals team, through 3 quarters, 62 to 61. And of course, his 81-point game against the Raptors. He did this all with all defense team level defense. Some people would say that he did this on terrible efficiency, pointing out how he shot 45% from the field. But I would say that it's still impressive, as he did this in one of the best defensive hours in NBA history, because of the lack of spacing and zone defense being allowed. Also, the league's true shooting percentage was 53.6%, whereas Kobe's true shooting percentage was 55.9%. So for this reason, he was actually efficient compared to the league. Despite all this, he still ended up losing MVP to Steve Nash. He was on the 2nd-seeded Phoenix Suns and was one of the best passers of all time and was ultra efficient, doing his thing while being in the 54 United club. These two were set up for a first-round series against each other. Kobe had a chance to beat the MVP in the first round, and he did not disappoint. For the first 4 games, they had taken a 3-1 lead off a Kobe game winner in Game 4. But despite what this game winner might make you think, Kobe was only averaging 23 points per game for that series. The Lakers' main reason for winning those games was Kobe getting his team involved. This is quite important, as the Lakers proceeded to lose 3 games in a row. Kobe scored 50 in Game 6, but it wasn't enough as they lost by 8 points. People say that he quit on his team in Game 7 as he only had 3 shots in the second half. However, I'd say that he was only adhering to the playmaking focus of the triangle offense, and was acting as a decoy in order to get his team involved. Plus, I don't think Kobe's Mamba mentality would him quitting a game that the Lakers must win. Anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter because the Lakers would get blown out 121 to 90. So I guess it's the low light of the season, as ultimately Kobe's individual dominance wasn't enough as it got a low seed and got eliminated in the first round. The thing is, this probably stunk even more for Kobe as Shaq ended up winning another championship with a different shooting guard, Dwayne Wade. However, this season was a demonstration of how he could lead a team and was ultimately the best player in the world. This was Kobe's peak as an individual. Was it the best peak ever? No, not really. Was it still one of the best? Is it one of the best peaks ever? Not the best, one of the best. Yeah. That's my take on this season, and if you disagree, you're more than welcome to comment why. And you could like and subscribe to see more content like this. You know, I had to say that, and if you want to see another video just like this, you could check out my Russell Westbrook video. But anyway, this is John567. See ya.
You know, you got to look at the reality of the situation. You know, like for me, it's not, you know, you kind of got to get over yourself. Like, it's not about you, man. Like, okay, you feel embarrassed. You're not that important. Like, get over yourself.
That's where you go.
Get over yourself, right? Like, you're worried about how people may perceive you, and like you're walking around and it's embarrassing because you shot 5 air balls. Get over yourself, right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen?